How's it going, everybody? It's Yeong here with day 41 of the Final Fantasy XV Countdown Retrospective. Before you proceed, I highly recommend you check out day 42, in which I dived into news for the year 2010, particularly one in which Square Enix CEO Yoichi Wada couldn't answer definitively if Versus 13 would remain exclusive to PlayStation 3, which turned a lot of heads back then. In this video, I'll be discussing new information and screenshots revealed by Japanese gaming outlets Famitsu and Dengeki PlayStation on June 2010. Following Square Enix's investors meeting on May 2010, during which Yoichi Wada vaguely hinted that Versus 13 might not be PS3 exclusive after all, a month later, on June 22, 2010, Famitsu released a new magazine issue featuring Final Fantasy Versus 13, which not only featured the first ever gameplay screenshots of the highly anticipated title, but also an interview with director Tetsuya Nomura that yielded new information. Now, the information was all in Japanese, but fortunately, website Gematsu released an article 2 days later on June 24, 2010, featuring a full translation of the interview from a source called OG. Now, before we dive into the interview, let's take a look at the screenshots. Again, this was the general public's first ever look at actual Versus 13 gameplay, so pretty exciting stuff back then. First up, we have an image showing Noctis looking out towards what looks to be an expansive field from Versus 13's game world, and below that is an image showing Noctis in front of some kind of gas station, which seems to be what later became Final Fantasy XV's Hammerhead gas station and repair shop. The last image is this one right here, showing Noctis battling some kind of behemoth in the middle of the city streets of Insomnia. A very striking shot indeed. Honestly, the game looked pretty damn good even when it was only for PS3. Pretty impressive how much they managed to squeeze out of the aging hardware. Also interesting to note about all three images is that they showed us for the first time Noctis's final costume design, which changed from the baggy leather outfit seen in early footage to this more casual wardrobe, a real-life version of which was shown off during Jump Festa 2010, and which will remain Noctis's final main costume when Final Fantasy XV launches on November 29, 2016. Alright, so with that out of the way, here is Famitsu's interview with Tetsuya Nomura, through which he detailed what was being shown in these images. The translation is somewhat shoddy in some parts, so I might make my own corrections here and there, but overall, it gets the important points across well enough. The first question was, is this a real-time screenshot we're looking at? The image quality is very good. Nomura responded with, yes, it's an image in real time using the real hardware. We aim to improve the quality you're seeing now even further. For now, we can't share more details in full scale, so we removed the menus and subscreens, showing Noctis's expression, image projected on the subscreen. The next question was, were the party members also there originally? To which Nomura responded, yes, we removed them because we haven't formally announced their weapons and clothes yet. The interviewer then once again complimented the game's visuals, stating that the exquisiteness and shades are like a photograph taken from real life. Nomura responded with, indeed, we're using physical calculations to determine the movement of the clouds. This time it allows us to filter sunlight and other things on Versus 13. The topic then shifted to the images featured in Famitsu's article, with the interviewer asking, is the cliff in the wilderness and the gas station set in the same location? Nomura replied, yes, in the back of the store is the cliff to the extended wilderness. You can walk all the way to everything you see except for the mountains. Then, on the matter of the screenshot with the behemoth, the interviewer asked, what's this giant enemy on the other screen? Nomura replied, it's a military behemoth and he actually bears a huge sword in his back. As for this picture, the battle screen was on the screen, but we omitted it. The interviewer then made an observation, stating the street of Shinjuku is real, to which Nomura responded with, yes, it's our model for this. Even the bicycle lanes and crosswalks are depicted, but the sense of distance has been changed a bit since last time. Right out of the city, you encounter the wilderness with electric wires everywhere, as it's this kind of territory for this country. The interviewer then made another statement. This region, it is only the prologue, the early stages. Nature is so even there. Nomura responded with, movement around this area is easy because you can use a car. Getting on and off the car can be done anytime, but it's not possible to go all the way across because it leads to a region underwater that has been shown on promotional trailers before. Nomura is probably referring to the broken bridge seen in Versus 13's DKS3 713 trailer. The interviewer then proceeded by asking if monsters appear on the field. Nomura's response was, yes, there are monsters that appear on the field. Some staff were doing tests and were surprised by how good looking some are in the evening sun. This was then followed up with another question, are the battles seamless? What about the world? Nomura replied with, it's basically seamless, and we aim to make it even more seamless, but there is some loading between big areas. The interviewer then pointed out, information disclosure is very restricted right now. Nomura said this about the matter. Development is very far along, and according to expectations, we're taking steady steps. Wait patiently, please. Information on Versus 13 will come. Moreover, we're making preparations for a big announcement. Going back to the screenshot of the gas station, Nomura was asked, you can actually see a signboard and things written inside in the screenshot? Nomura's response was, the signboard is still temporary, even though the inside of the gas station is modeled in detail after the gas stations in the US. It's possible to go up there using the stairs. The final question of the interview was, do you play in this perspective the whole game? Likely referring to the third-person camera angle shown in all three screenshots. Nomura replied, yes. The camera basically sits in this position. We decided to prioritize the character's presence and the world. That said, we decided to scrap the over-the-shoulder perspective of the world. So it looks like an over-the-shoulder camera view was considered at some point in the game's development cycle before being scrapped. So yeah, in one fell swoop, Famitsu gave us tons of exciting new information on Versus 13, the most we had gotten in a very long time. And it didn't stop there. On the same month, Dengeki PlayStation also released their latest magazine issue, Volume 474, featuring new Versus 13 information which was later translated from Japanese to English by website ff13.net. But instead of providing a full translation, they simply summarized the relevant information through bullet points meant to serve as an addition to the information we learned from Famitsu. The bullet points read as follows. Game scenario is fully done at this point. Character designs are definitive and will be shown in due time. Clothes design are done. So just some minor updates on the game's development status. Overall, this was definitely a great month for Versus 13 fans yearning for fresh new details. We even got to see what the title looks like during gameplay for the first time, even if through still images. The screenshots not only looked gorgeous, but Nomura further sweetened the pot by promising that the final game will look even better. June 2010 definitely helped rekindle fading hype, especially after Final Fantasy XIII's mixed reception, but little did we know that we would be waiting for another 6 years before finally getting to play the game. With that, I would like to conclude today's episode of the Final Fantasy XV Countdown Retrospective. Thank you for tuning in. Let us know in the comments below any memories of Versus 13 this information might have sparked from back then. And to be further updated on all things Final Fantasy, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out!